This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com. AEW was nice enough to give Jack Kilby and I media passes to the Collision taping in Ottawa, Ontario at the Canadian Tire Centre last night. It was the first time AEW ever came to the Canadian Tire Centre. I used to work security there. A lot of my friends still do security there. Told me there was approximately 3,000 fans in attendance, which is better than average for Collision. I think they would have done way better to do the taping downtown Ottawa at the Ottawa Civic Center, which holds 10,000 people rather than 20,000 at the Canadian Tire Center. The Canadian Tire Center is about half an hour from downtown Ottawa, outside of the city, actually in Canada, Ontario, and you have to pay $25 for parking. So I think the Civic Center being more central and for the cheap people not having to pay parking. Plus, the Civic Center is actually more historic for wrestling too. I think they would have had a better crowd had they gone to the Civic Center. Overall, I enjoyed the show. I didn't stay past um, the Collision tapings because I was burnt out. But the one thing I want to mention is Chris Jericho, Christian, and Moxley were advertised. Chris Jericho was actually featured at the center of the poster. Neither of those three were there. Obviously, Kenny Omega was advertised too, but he has a legitimate injury right now. The tickets said to come at 6. It's with all the matches and tapings that they did, I'm surprised that at 6 o'clock they started with a bunch of video stuff, like Tony Schiavone's Control Center and interviews and stuff, when they could have banged off some of the Ring of Honor matches. The Ring of Honor TV title tournament for the women's TV title were the first two matches. Queen Amanita defeated Red Velvet, who at one point was married to my good friend Wes Briscoe. This match was decent, but I felt it was too long, way too long for an opener. And the second women's match, Billy Starks defeated Mercedes Martinez. This one wasn't as long as the first match, but it was pretty long. Then they had uh, Aria Davari and Tony Nese defeating Chocolate City in a tag match, which was much shorter. Was like seemed to be like 3 or 4 minutes long. So I found it weird that the first match felt like it went on forever. I feel that those women's matches would have been better if they were shorter. Nothing wrong with them. I just felt like they would have been better shorter. Then Tony Khan appeared to the biggest pop of the night. Tony Khan, I believe, got the biggest pop of the night to hype the crowd before the Collision tapings actually began. And you can tell how much Tony Khan loves what he does. I mean, he's a great guy, and definitely thank him again for hooking us up with tickets. They started Collision with the best match of the night, Daniel Bryan versus Shibata, who I trained with at one point for a week at a New Japan camp and had a lot of fun. Danielson defeated Shibata. Then it was Julia Hart versus Trish Adora. This was the best of the women's matches of the night. Very cool entrance by Julia Hart. Then there was some backstage stuff. Then it was Daniel Garcia versus Lee Moretti. That was kind of a throwaway match. Pac versus Aaron Solo. Pac got a good reaction. He was impressive. Nothing bad about that match at all. Thumbs up. Claudio Castagnoli versus Lance Archer. Good match. This was a bunch of run-ins at the end. So no, kind of a screwed up finish. This was the bathroom match of the night, Kyle O'Reilly versus Brian Keith. I actually went to the bathroom during this match, and I noticed when I went, like all the lines were huge, not only at the concession stands, but at the bathroom, so a lot of people went to the bathroom during this match. Then it was Charlie Bravo and Sean Dean versus Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black. This was a good match, but the crowd was definitely behind the heels here. Uh, they they were for Buddy Matthews, and I don't think it was Malachi Black. It was what's his name, Brody King, Buddy Matthews and Brody King. Whoever did these results, I'm reading off of someone's results, and it was Buddy Matthews and Brody King. Brody King I've interviewed before when he was in PCW Ultra. Great guy. The heels lost this one, which the fans did not like. Then it ended with Adam Copeland coming out and giving a speech. He actually headlined the last Raw that was in Ottawa that had one of the biggest Raw crowds ever for Ottawa last February. I think he fought Finn Balor in the main event. So here he was returning to Ottawa, saying he never thought he'd actually wrestle in that town again, but he didn't actually wrestle. He just gave a speech. A lot of people thought Christian was going to come out because he was on the poster, but he didn't. So it was just a basic speech. Nothing wrong with it, but nothing much happened. We left after this. We were burnt out. I mean, from six to 10, that's about all the wrestling we can take. There was about 6 or 7 more Ring of Honor matches after. I would say 500 to 1,000 people left at that time. There was a lot of people leaving after the Collision tapings, which again, they could have fit another 2 or 3 matches at the start of the show rather than just show video highlights. Overall, I mean, that was the first wrestling event I attended in a long time. Really, I will attend more if they want to give me more tickets. Um, Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Mike. Pop of the night to Tony. Jack Kilby agrees. Tony got the biggest pop. And again, I don't see WWE giving me media passes, so I appreciate that AEW gave me media passes. One thing I learned was to ask to get on the arena's Wi-Fi next time because the Wi-Fi, we're out in the middle of a field, the Canadian Tire Center, the Wi-Fi was bad. So sorry about that, fans. That was our first time shooting Wi-Fi out there. ATF Media said it would have been a shorter match if Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin would have come in and knocked out anyone. Well, I mean, Ronnie Garvin could come in there and take the AEW title right now if he wanted to. So feel free to check out the videos I posted from the event, and thanks again to AEW. I hope you were satisfied with your Ottawa debut. It was a small crowd, but a hot crowd for the people that were there, and a lot of people had traveled great distances